Hi, I'm Mary Caton. I'm a sports writer with the Windsor Star, and we're here today with Mike Havey, who was named last night as the athletic director for the University of Windsor. So congratulations,
Thanks,
Mike. Now, you've been wearing the interim tag for almost a year now, since Gord Grace left. Without that tag there, I mean, how does that affect you in terms of your day-to-day operations?
Well, I mean, in terms of day-to-day operations, not much is going to change. I get to remove a few letters from the business card. Day-to-day operations immediately doesn't really make a change at all. Sometime next week, I guess I'll move offices. I'm not really looking forward to that, but it will be a chance to purge some old files, I guess. But you know, it's immediate change, none. You know, on a go-forward basis, you know, certainly hoping that we'll get a chance to backfill my position. You know, we've been down a body for basically a year and a half, and you know, and so kudos to our entire staff for you know, helping to make things happen, even though we've been down a body, and especially in, you know, as you know, what was a difficult year on a lot of fronts at the University of Windsor. We went through a 5.5-week strike, you know, and you know, people came back to work with you know, a sense of determination and grit, and so kudos to the entire team, because you know, we still got a lot of positive results and got a lot of things accomplished, even though there were many challenges along the way.
Absolutely. Now, beyond grabbing the cardboard boxes, what's your first order of business?
Well, you know, I know I'm going to be invited to do a vision presentation to the faculty in a couple of weeks, so I've been working on that. But you know, we've got some personnel things to do. So much of the job is personnel. You know, with the hosting and our success, I'm actually behind on some meetings with coaches. Like I got to sit down and talk to every one of our coaches about, you know, the season that was just finished, and you know, try and make some plans on a go-forward basis for those individuals. You know, so we'll need to get to that. Like to get you know, the staff structure finalized at you know, in the relatively near future. That will require some dialogue with, you know, multiple parties, the dean's office, HR, and of course, you know, some internal dialogue as well. So, you know, we'd like to get to that. And of course, you know, we're going to continue to try and push forward the whole notion of you know, a capital expansion for athletics and recreational services. So that's never going to be very far from anyone's mind for the next several months, until hopefully we're able to finally push the go button on that project.
I want to talk about a little bit more about that in a minute. But looking back at Gord Grace, he definitely changed the culture of the athletic department during his time.
Without question.
He wanted winning programs.
Yeah.
Being a former football guy, he sometimes blew through the room like a linebacker on his way to the quarterback. Yep. Can you tell us a little bit about your style and your vision for the department moving forward?
Well, you know, I want to win too, but you know, I think there's a big sense of satisfaction when everybody feels like they're along for part of the ride. You know, so you know, I'm going to certainly try to be consultative in approach and keep people involved, and if I can't keep them involved, at least keep them informed, you know, of things that are happening or going to happen. So you know, that's kind of my style, and so you know, I'm hopeful that that's going to be well received. I think it will be, and but you know, don't get me wrong. I like winning just as much as Gord liked winning, and honestly, so does everybody else there. So we're going to keep working hard to try and you know, improve on the accomplishments that we've had over the last several years.
Well, your first year set the bar pretty high. It was witnessed by your awards banquet last night with the championships and OUA Player of the Year in different sports. Really incredible.
Yeah, it's just kind of an incredible year. I mean, some firsts. You know, Jenny McKnight, you know, Player of the Year in the entire OUA. You know, Kayla Sagan, who was you know, the Player of the Year in OUA West Women's Volleyball. You know, Maya Marie Langway, who you know, won the CIS Defensive Player of the Year for the 3rd consecutive year. Never been done before.
Never been done,
anywhere. The women's basketball team winning their 4th consecutive CIS championship, a feat that hasn't been replicated in over a quarter of a century. And I'm sure, knowing Chantal, they're planning and plotting for number 5 right now. So many firsts. I mean, our first win ever at the CIS men's hockey championship, and what a Cinderella ride to finish the season that
Absolutely.
was. Just so much to be excited about and to celebrate, and it just goes to show you. I mean, we're resource challenged like every other school in the conference. I mean, it's not just us; it's everybody. It's a challenge in the system for everyone right now. But facilities wise, I mean, we know that we need to upgrade our facilities. But despite all that, it just goes to show you that when you put good people in place in the right positions, and you give them, we certainly haven't given them all the tools that we'd like to, but if you give them enough tools, they'll do incredible things.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned resources and facilities. There are some pretty impressive plans for expansion at the St. Denis Center. Talk to us about some of the challenges of making that a reality and why it's important that it happen.
Well, I think it's important for the university. Obviously, it's important to the Lancers. Everybody can appreciate that. But the Lancers are a relatively small group. There's only about 330 varsity athletes. They would certainly benefit from new facilities, but the impact is far, far greater than the impact on just those that wear the W on their chest. We've got 6,500 intramural and campus recreation participants, so they're all athletes too. I mean, they're recreational athletes, but they're users of the facilities and they're participants in our programs, and so building capacity, only means that we're going to be able to service that entire community much better than we've been able to in the past. So, we're looking at things like, increasing our hard court space. I mean, the St. Denis Center is a wonderful utilitarian facility, but at the end of the day, it's just one big box.
Yeah.
And when we have programs in there, it basically shuts down everything else, the opportunity to do anything else. We've got a great event going on there right now. The first robotics championships are being held at the St. Denis Center this weekend, and that's a wonderful event, wonderful community event, wonderful opportunity to bring science and engineering students onto our campus, but it happens at the exclusion of everything else. So, having another big space is certainly a priority. The Forge Fitness Center, which has only been open for a little over a decade, but was really, too small the day it was open. That's 6,500 square feet. I mean, we're hoping to, at least triple the square footage of fitness space that's available, and that's available to every student on campus. Same thing, we have one multi-purpose room.
Right.
And so the plans include, 9 or 10 different multi-purpose space. So, for smaller programs, for things like Pilates, yoga, ballroom dance.
It's almost endless now, isn't it? What's offered?
Almost endless. I mean, it's we'll have to imagine new programs with the capacity for that new space will provide us. Certainly, the current pool has reached is close to the end of its lifespan, and so we're looking at including water in the new build out and basically repurposing that space. Another turf field. So we're talking about a big project. So the challenge is clearly, it's a financial one.
Right.
We've had great support through the year from the sitting student government around the concept of a capital fee referendum. But the scope of the project is more than we could reasonably expect the students to pay for by themselves. So our challenge is to reach out to government, to reach out to donors through a capital campaign to try and close that gap so that the vision is financially feasible, and because we're not we're not going to be able to run a debt on this. We need to be able to build what we can afford to build. So that's the challenge right now, and so it's going to take a little bit of time to address that. But hopefully we can get that done and move forward with the project. Certainly a goal of mine. I'm 57 years old coming into this position. I'd like to see it done before I retire.
Well, it's exciting times out there. Thanks again for joining us today, Mike.
Thanks, Mary.